Hi, I'm City Manager Scott Neal, and you're watching On the Job, a show where we take you behind the scenes to introduce you to the city employees that keep Edina going and show you some things you can only learn on the job. You are joining me today in a place that not very many people get to go. This is the property and evidence staging area in the police department. And this is where evidence is collected and processed and safeguarded until it's used in court. And I want to introduce you to a very important person in our organization who cares for all of this. Her name is Crystal Ludgate. Hi, Crystal.
Hi.
Crystal is a property and evidence specialist, and she has worked in that capacity for how long?
3 years.
For 3 years. But you were also in our dispatch center for how long?
Correct, 7.
So we are going to take a look at your new job.
Okay.
Because it's also very important to how our city functions. So tell us a little bit about what it means to be a property and evidence specialist.
Yeah, so the officers collect evidence on the scene, and that has to be kept safe until it's either used in court or we're done with it or whatever it might be. And so we have a property room where we do that. And so the officers bring the property in here, they do all of their own packaging and labeling, and then I take it and I give it a forever storage location and I manage it from there.
Okay. So what are we looking at behind us right here? This is a series of lockers.
Sure.
How does this work in your job?
So these are called temporary evidence lockers. So when an officer brings in an item of evidence, they do all of their documentation in the computer and then they put it into a locker here for me.
Okay.
And they set it in here, and this works a little bit like the like a Sally port, if you know what that is, where you can only open one door at a time. So they put this in, they stick it in there, they lock it, and now it's in there for good until I take it out on the other side.
All right. So nobody else can get in there and mess with it.
Correct.
Right?
So that is how we start our chain of custody, which is the most important thing in my job.
Yeah. Okay. And so you've got a lot of different shapes and sizes of lockers. So this is for big stuff.
Correct.
This is for small stuff.
Yep.
This makes me a little concerned. What does biohazard mean in the evidence world?
Yeah, the sticker is really scary. People think that that means blood. Biohazard in my world just means that it has potential DNA.
Okay.
So anything that has DNA potential, we like to have them separated in those lockers.
Okay. Is there a chance you could show me how to process a piece of evidence and use one of these lockers to insert it?
I'd love to.
I'd love to too. Let's do it.
All right, so I have some really great pieces of evidence that I found that we're gonna need to package. Are you ready?
I'm so ready.
Okay, so first and foremost, you need to put on a pair of gloves always. So we have different sizes here for you to use. I think those will probably work for you. One of the things to remember whenever doing this job is you always wanna make sure that you change your gloves when you are handling multiple pieces of evidence, because we don't want anything to transfer from one to the other.
Yeah.
You're all, okay, so. So now that you've got your gloves on, you're ready to handle your evidence.
I thought that would be the right thing to do.
And you'll make sure that you don't transfer any of your own DNA onto any of this stuff. Okay, so our first item of evidence here is we've got little green sprout. Okay, so I'm not really sure what crime he was used in. Hopefully it wasn't too terrible, but we're gonna put him into a brown paper bag. We do
environmental crime.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
We do use a couple of different packaging techniques, but mostly plastic and paper, one or the other.
All right.
So the first thing that we always want to do before we put anything into our bag is we want to write what's in it on the bag.
Okay.
It's very difficult to write on the bag once your item is already in it.
Sure.
So you want to make sure that you write that down.
Okay.
So if you just want to throw a pretend case number on there and then maybe a little description of what you're looking at, that is the most important thing for me when the officers choose a paper bag, because I can't see what's inside of it. Okay, green man, I love it.
All right.
All right, so then the next step is we're gonna open up the bag, keeping our gloves on, of course.
Yeah, of course.
And we're gonna make sure that we take our little piece of evidence, that works too, and stick it in the bag.
Yeah.
And then the last step is we have to put a seal on this. We gotta make sure that we get this sealed so that nobody can get into it.
Stapler.
We do not use staples in our bags because they hurt very much when I'm going through and moving bags around.
Right.
So we use tape.
All right.
So you're gonna take a piece of tape
I like a drywaller.
Yeah, you can either, and you can lay it down and do it that way, or I like it that way. Perfect. And we're gonna seal the bag. You want it half over the top, half over the bottom. Very good. You make sure it's all nice and sealed. And then you're gonna grab your marker and you're gonna put your initials here and here. Half on the paper, half on the tape.
Oop.
Perfect. Good.
Okay.
And then you have to do the same thing here, wherever your tape meets your paper. Very good. Now you have a sealed piece of evidence. And just to show you in contrast here, or in comparison, excuse me, here is an example of a finished one that we've had before.
Oh boy.
So it looks very similar in nature.
Yeah, but look at how nice and
initials.
smooth.
It takes some perfecting.
Yeah, okay, all right.
Okay.
All right.
Now, the other option we have for packaging evidence, and this is our other big piece of biological evidence, because this is, you know, our candy bar here,
Yeah.
so we probably got DNA in there. We're
Okay.
gonna pretend this is half eaten.
All right.
So this is what's called a heat sealer. You're gonna take the end of your plastic and you're gonna make a seam. Pretty easy. I gotta let it sit for a little bit, because if I pull it too soon, the seam won't heal, or won't seal, excuse me. Then you make a bag the size of your candy bar. And I'll give you the scissors, and you're gonna cut. Very good. Once again, right on your bag before you put anything in it, what it is.
Okay.
Very good. And then you're gonna put your Snickers bar into the bag on the one side that is still open. And now you're gonna heat seal that seam.
You got it.
Okay, ready? And we'll give it a little bit to dry so it seals. Gotta be very gentle with it. There we go.
6 seconds.
And now you have to initial each one of these seals. Excellent.
All right.
And so now you've packaged your 2 pieces of property.
All right.
The officer would then do what's called a voucher, where they tell me it's gonna be waiting for them in the locker.
Okay.
And if you want, you can stick it into the locker of your choice.
Can I put them both in the same locker?
You can put them both in the same locker.
I'm gonna use 07.
That one's full.
Oh, please.
There you go.
08.
Yep.
Just stick them in here.
Stick them both in there like that. And then to close it, you just let it close on its own. Good. Now turn the handle to the right and push that little button in at the same time. There you go.
All right.
Can you get in there? Your evidence is sealed.
But I can go to the other side and get in through there.
I can go to the other side and
I
get in
can't
through
go to
there.
that side.
No, you cannot.
Why not?
Because we only allow certain people with training and the proper certification to go back there.
I do not want access.
Best practice is to keep
Yeah.
a minimal amount of people having access to the stuff in that room.
Agreed. Well, your work here is important to everyone in the criminal justice system, right? It's not just the police and prosecutors. It's important to people who are accused of crimes. It's important to people who are victims of crimes. So
Yeah.
thank you for doing that.
Yep. A lot of the stuff we have in here is recovered stolen property, and that is someone's belongings. They're special items that was taken from them. So we do have an importance to take care of the property there too.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Thanks for being on our team,
Yeah,
Crystal. It's fun
so
to do this
fun.
show with
Thank
you
you.
again. Thanks a
Yes.
lot. You've been watching On the Job, a show where we take you behind the scenes to introduce you to the city employees that keep Edina going and show you some things you can only learn on the job.